Well, here we are on Gypswick Model Railway, my East Anglian sort of British Railways era LNER model railway. It's not exactly super highly detailed, but it's brought me great pleasure over the years. Now, there's been a lot of talk recently about how expensive the hobby has become and how we can't possibly afford a locomotive that's over £200 now and so on. Yep. Now, I'm very lucky. I'm at a stage of life where I can afford to spend a bit more on my models, but just so that you're thinking, oh, you know, if you're worried you're going to be priced out of the hobby, no, you don't have to be. And this video is going to be all about absolute bargains that I bought in the last year. So that's in 2021. And we're going to start off with the most expensive of the bargains. It's a Hornby D49 Hunt or Shire class. This is the Cotswold Hunt. Cotswold Hunt, and it was bought brand new. It's the only new model you'll be seeing in this video. All the other locomotives and rolling stock is second hand. In fact, I'd say 95% of what's on my layout is bought second hand. So there are bargains to be had. The reason I bought this one is because I saw a recommendation for it by Barry Davis, who's a quite prolific YouTuber. He does a great little channel, and I follow his musings and his videos quite regularly. He speaks a lot of common sense. He doesn't spend a fortune. He, like me, has a big railway with a lot of models, a lot of toys, if you want to call them that, on his layout. But he's got an eye for a bargain, and so have I. So he recommended this one. It was £50 from Kerno Models right at the start of this year. I don't suppose they've still got them in stock, but it was his recommendation. And I want you to show you this one, pulling some equally good value coaches, and I'll talk about them in a minute. You'll see it's a beautifully smooth runner, just setting off. And it's pulling a Hachette Mark I coach and 3 Hornby Gresley coaches. The Hornby ones were repaints. So the idea of this video really is every loco under £50 and equally cheap coaches and wagons. I got the 3 Gresleys because someone had painted them BR maroon on one side and on the other side they were still in the original teak colour. So clearly someone thought, I'll save myself some money and I'll just paint one side of them so I can run them in 2 different eras. But as a result, no one seemed to want them on eBay, and I got the 3 of them for under £30, which, considering they run well, they look the part, they're really nicely detailed, I think that's a bit of a bargain. Next up, a Bachmann J72. Bachmann have just brought out their newest version of this. Costs over £100, and probably as a result of the newer version coming out, the older version is available on eBay for pretty good prices. So I paid £25 for this one, and I really wanted it because it's in the beautiful LNER lined green, even though my layout is supposedly BR era. I just love the look of some LNER locos, and I also like teak coaches too. So I bought this one, and with it, well, no, not in the same batch, but on the same day, I bought 6 LNER kit-built coaches, already made. They were all painted in a nice LNER teak, and 4 were corridor coaches, 2 were non-corridor, and so my lovely little J72 is going to pull the non-corridor coaches, and you'll see it pull away pretty smoothly for a £25 model. Now, getting a Bachmann J72 for £25 that runs well is a bit of a bargain, I would say. You could say the same for the mainline version. The locomotive behind is Joe M, Northeastern one. I think the body was produced by Mainline. The chassis certainly was, because not only did I buy the lined green one, I also went for the Northeastern one as preserved, and I went for a British Railways one, and also a later British Railways one with the late crest. Now, between the four of them, they actually set me back £80. Two of them are excellent runners. One is a bit of a dodgy runner, and one is quite good. Good enough for my liking. So, what I'm going to do is, the one that's a dodgy runner, I'm going to sell that, and it'll be advertised as a dodgy runner. But certainly, I'm definitely keeping two of them, probably three of them. And so I will have paid maybe £60 by the time I've sold the other one, maybe £60–65 for three really good, beautiful looking locomotives. And bear in mind the price of a brand new one is £105, £110. You know, I can't really complain. Oh, the brand new one would be DCC ready, but I'm perfectly happy with locomotives that aren't DCC fitted. I do have a Hornby Select controller, and I have a few sound fitted locomotives, you know, TTS Hornby ones. But to be honest, most of my locomotives aren't. They're old fashioned, analogue, and I'll show you another one of the J72s. So here's one of the mainline engineered models, and I'll show you it's quite a good runner. I'm going to set my power on now, and hopefully it'll just crawl off quite smoothly. It's a bit noisier than modern locomotives, but still a good runner. The coach, incidentally, is one that I got as a sort of bargain extra with a job lot I bought. It wasn't even advertised in the lot. And the coach is a Ian Kirk brake third or brake composite, and it's beautifully made and beautifully printed, and I've really got no complaints about that. So there we have it. It yeah, it rocks from side to side very slightly. It's not perfect, but that one actually was less than £20, and what a beautiful thing it looks like. Now, many of us, like Sir Nigel Gresley, probably like big engines, and so here's probably the biggest engine you can buy cheaply second hand. It's the Flying Scotsman. Now this happens to be a super detailed tender drive version, which cost me £40, again off eBay. It's one of those moments where people weren't bidding, I guess. I chose the right time of day. Not as silent as the very latest models, but fairly smooth and certainly powerful enough. And it's hauling 4 Gresley teaks, kit built by someone else to a decent standard. This model has a good turn of speed, but it can easily haul 4 kit-built coaches, and I've had it pulling 6 without any trouble. As I mentioned before, this is actually the super detailed version that came out of China in about 2003, 2004 onwards, before they, or perhaps a bit before that, before they went for loco drive. It was the last version made in the tender drive version, and it's of an A3 rather than the railroad version of Scotsman, which is an A1. You can tell the difference, sorry about the wobble, you can tell the difference by the type of dome and the smoke box. This has got the streamlined dome, which is characteristic of A3s, not all of them, and it's got slightly enlarged metal plates on the smoke box. If I show you them, hopefully you can just see that. Behind the chimney and on the left and right hand side there's little metal plates. Can't remember what they were for, but the A3 boiler was slightly bigger than the casing that it came. Now, if you're not too keen on tender drive locomotives, why not look out for a Hornby Railroad Flying Scotsman? These are, well, the earlier version I've had a couple of them, in fact. One of them operates on the layout I run at school with my students, and the other one's here at home. And this has got the engine in the locomotive. It's got a very quiet 5-pole motor. It runs beautifully smoothly. And if you want to build up a really big train, you might look out for buying the Railroad Flying Scotsman in a set with 3 of the Gresley teak coaches. These you can pick up on eBay. Typically, well, I paid about £48 for the Flying Scotsman and 3 coaches. No track or anything else. But I reckon the coaches themselves, typically you can pick up about 3 for £20. Don't go crazy bidding. Just look out for, just don't spend too much. Set yourself a limit and you'll get them eventually. Be patient. And if you buy a complete set, with track and controller, you can always sell on the controller and the track, or you might save them for later use. But yeah, the Flying Scotsman is definitely the best value locomotive. More, I don't know what you'd say, more locomotive for your bucks anyway. And this one, as I say, is very quiet, very smooth. So let's get it going. The coaches come in for a bit of criticism, but I like them. They couple pretty closely. They never derail. The reason I mentioned derailing is because the super detailed Gresley coaches, they have this close coupling system that can prove that the close coupling system can be a bit temperamental, whereas these toy-like, if you like, Gresley coaches, the ones that they sell in the train sets, they actually couple very closely. On the straight, you notice the gap a bit more on the bend, but on the straight they can be very closely coupled. And so I wonder why Hornby didn't just follow the same principle when they made the super detailed version, because these ones look fine. If you do think they're a bit toy-like, you can always have a go at weathering them or modifying the colour of the teak, and there are a few good video clips on YouTube about how to do that. Now, another great range of locomotives that offer good value for money are the Bachmann earlier models. For example, I've got the J39 here. If you're not into DCC, some of their split chassis models dating from the 1990s and 2000s, early 2000s, offer fantastic value for money. The J39 is a really good runner. Mine cost about £36. Again, you'll see some buy it now, £60 or £70. Why pay that much? Be patient, see one that's being sold on auction, and if you're lucky, you might be able to bag it. And the other thing I do with freight locomotives like the J39 is I always... Sorry, I've just noticed a horrible looking bit of platform building there. Anyway, here it comes again. When you're looking out for cheap rolling stock, don't try and buy individual wagons. Buy a job lot. You might find you get them all at £3 or £4 each, let's say 10 wagons for £35 or something like that, rather than buying individual wagons that might go for £4 or £5, and then you have to pay an extra £3 for postage. There are still lots of bargains out there. In fact, with the wagons I buy, unless it's a specific wagon, like I wanted some fish fans recently, and they're not easy to come by, they're not cheap. But if you just want a mixed rake, or you want a few mineral wagons, or a few box vans, closed vans, whatever, you can usually buy them, and you get a mixture sometimes. It could be Airfix, Dapol, Mainline, Hornby, Triang. I'd avoid the Triang ones because their wheels will be really chunky and crude and they won't run on modern point work. But the other makes, maybe early Hornby aren't great, but the other makes tend to have quite fine flanges on the wheels and run pretty well. Some people insist on they want all their wheels to be metal. If that's what you're insisting on, you'll end up paying quite a lot more for your models, because metal wheels seem to be an incredibly expensive luxury now. You know, you look at, say, a pack of 10 wheels being sold for £18 and something like that, and you think, what, that's 5 wagons for £18? I bought 5 complete wagons for less than that, and they came with the wheels that ran perfectly well.